Firstly, we took the cameras to the airfield of the Guelph Gliding and Soaring Association, located just outside of Elmira. This exciting sport is becoming more and more popular, so we wanted to find out why. The first person we spoke to was Paul Nelson, president of the club, who says that gliding is the most
fun toy known to man, a sailplane. And I tell people who don't know much about the sport that once you get into gliding, it's almost like a narcotic. You get addicted. And once you get addicted, come wintertime, when you can't fly your sailplane, you suffer bad withdrawal. So that's the downside. Now I'm going to talk over the next few minutes about the good side, because it is just a fantastic sport. Anyone who's been in it will say the same thing. Gliding, there's nothing like it. It started shortly after World War I, and sailplanes have developed incredibly over the last 50 years, 60 years. What we have today is a far cry from what they first started with back at the time of the Great War. This is what one would call a middle-of-the-road sailplane. It's called a 134. It was made in Elmira, New York, just a few miles from where we are in southern Ontario. Unfortunately, they don't make sailplanes anywhere in North America today. All the sailplanes are made in Europe. You have sailplanes such as this one that are from metal construction. There are still wooden sailplanes made today, but most of the modern sailplanes are all glass, Kevlar, and composites, carbon, this sort of material. The modern sailplanes, the glass and Kevlar ones, are the really super performers. But nevertheless, something that's a 20-year-old design like this can still provide a lot of fun. And I, for one, have many hours every year tooting around below the clouds in this plane, as do a number of other members in our club share the use of the plane also. There aren't any sailplanes or gliders made in North America any longer, so that basically anyone who wants to acquire a new sailplane today is looking at buying something from Europe. The cost is significant for the newer planes, but you can get an older plane such as this for probably $15,000. Although if you own your own plane, there's a heavy capital cost of some sort. The sport itself, if you belong to a club such as this one, is not that expensive. I tell people that to spend a season flying, it generally costs the same thing as it might cost you for skiing or for golf. It's much, much cheaper than power flying, and unlike power flying, it's a sport, it's a hobby. The challenge is always there, and you have unlimited opportunity to refine your skills, to go off on cross-country flights, competition. A lot of folks don't understand that a glider, even though it doesn't have an engine, can stay airborne all day. As long as you've got some lift, and that's rising columns of air, thermals, the glider can travel hundreds of miles, can attain speeds of over 150 miles an hour, and as I indicated, can stay up for hours at a time. Competitive soaring involves flying over a predetermined course, and the first person to complete, he or she is the winner. So that sporting component isn't present in power flying. I think the other big difference between gliding and power flying is the camaraderie that's involved in a sailplane club. Everybody pitches in and helps. It's all volunteers. It's something that those of us that are addicted to the sport, weekends, holidays, and occasionally if we can steal an afternoon away from our respective paid endeavors on a nice Wednesday or Thursday in the summertime, you might find us out here at the club tooting around under the clouds. A day like today, if you look around, there's a lot of blue sky. Now that's not necessarily the best soaring weather. What you need for ideal soaring conditions are cumulus clouds, because those are like beacons. Those cumulus clouds are flashing red signals that tell you that there's lift, there's columns of rising air underneath one of those clouds. Just above us right now, there's some cumulus starting to form. Now that means in another maybe half hour or so, when it gets time to organize, that these beacons that you look for, the soaring pilot wants, are going to be present, and soaring conditions are probably going to be good from now right through till 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. So another short bit of time, and there's going to be enough lift, these columns of air, to keep you aloft for the whole afternoon. The whole sport of soaring, as I've been trying to indicate, is so very different from power flying. The principles are different. Even someone who's an accomplished power pilot, it's going to take a little bit of a transition to understand some of the fundamental differences between flying sailplanes and power planes. One of the really big things is, with a sailplane, you only get one shot at the landing. You never get a second effort. It's standard procedure with power flying that if you're not lined up properly for your circuit, you fly around and you do it again. You don't have that luxury with a sailplane. So what that means, of course, is that you have to get the landing right first time, every time. And again, it's not as difficult as it sounds. I'm going to show you a little bit about this particular plane. As I mentioned, this is a 134, which is a middle-of-the-road sailplane by today's standards. This canopy hinges right here. Normally I'd be getting in from the other side, but since you're filming today, I'm going to lift the canopy off and get into the plane so that you can get an idea of just what the inside of the cockpit looks like and what some of the basic controls are. All right, so when you get into a sailplane such as this, the weight of your body forces the nose down on the ground. If you notice underneath, there's a skid, and the skid protects the bottom of the sailplane from the force of the sailplane when it first takes off of dragging across the ground. Now, planes are very different. Some of them you're virtually lying down in. Some of them you're semi-reclined. I'm in a semi-reclined position in this one. And some of them you're almost upright. Once again, this is a middle-of-the-road type of sailplane. The controls are pretty basic. Right in the center of the cockpit, and you probably can't see it, but is the stick. This, you push it forward, the nose goes down, the plane dives. You pull the stick back, the rudder, which is behind me, goes the opposite direction, the plane goes up. Similarly, if you push the stick to the right, the plane will turn to the right, but it'll still keep flying straight, because unlike a power plane, which has an engine to pull it through the air, a sailplane doesn't have that. So to turn with a sailplane, you not only have to use the stick to make the plane bank, you have to use the rudder pedal to turn the plane, and you have to make them, you have to fly coordinated. In other words, when you put rudder on and you put the aileron on with the stick, they have to balance so that the plane is flying cleanly through the air. In front of the sailplane is a yaw string. And virtually every sailplane has a yaw string either in front, like this one, or taped to the top of the canopy. That yaw string is supposed to be pointed straight back at all times. If it's not, you're not flying in a coordinated fashion. And not only will you, if you're flying uncoordinated, will you waste your altitude, but if you're at a low altitude coming into land, it's obviously a hazard. So coordinated flying is one of the first and fundamental principles that every beginning sailplane pilot has to master. Now, there's a number of other differences between power planes and sailplanes, and one of them is the landing techniques. When you come in with a sailplane to land, you come in quite high. And sailplanes, unlike most small power planes, they have spoilers which are above and below the wing. You might be able to see it opening and closing behind me. The handle is right here. Now with the spoilers, what you do is you use that extra altitude that you're coming in with, and you bleed it off with the spoilers or the air brakes, and so that when you come into land, the altitude is what you translate your extra altitude into speed, and you adjust your speed with your spoilers, and that's the cushion, the safety cushion that you have when you're coming into land, because once again, there's no engine. So if things aren't right, you can't obviously speed up. You have to adjust your landing pattern with your, principally with your spoilers. Every sailplane has a tow release. It's a knob in the front on the dash, and when you pull that release, the cord, which is just 1/4-inch polypropylene, detaches from the tow plane, and you're on your own. Typically, it's at an altitude of 2,000 to 3,000 feet. And once you've released, then you're going to stay up in the sky for 15 minutes or 5 hours, depending upon a little bit of luck, your ability, conditions, the type of plane you're flying.